Hello, this is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back with another episode of Rudy's Common Sense. And we're on the theme of the critical elections that are coming up, the primary election, this one now in New York on January 28th. So many of you, I don't know how many over the last year, have complained to me. What are we going to do? How can we live under this? Biden is killing us. Biden's giving away America. Biden's destroying our way of life. He wants to destroy our form of government. Every single thing you said to me is true. What can I do about it? Okay, here's what you can do about it. One simple act. Support Robert Cornicelli. If you live there. If you don't live there, send him money. And you're going to see why. We're going to present you some of these candidates. They're not all, but they are critical candidates in taking out Republicans who double cross us, Republicans who make it impossible for us to get to our America First MAGA agenda. November is our time to take out the Democrats. But we, unfortunately, have Republicans we have to take out because they vote with the Democrats. Democrats have almost none of them. They all, even though they're committing crimes, they all organize together. We want to do the right thing, and we can't get a large number of our traitors to come along, and he's running against one of the biggest, which I'm going to demonstrate to you later. He's like a two-timer. He's on our top list nationally of people who deliberately went out of their way to hurt the Republican agenda, the real Republican agenda, America First agenda, the MAGA agenda, and personally inflict enormous amount of unfair scrutiny and pain and persecution on President Trump, his family, people who work for him, including yours truly. So let's go to, this guy should get elected no matter who he's running against. But on this one, it's a no-brainer. Robert Cornicelli. So, Bob, tell us about yourself now.
Sir, well, it's an honor to be on your show.
Honor to have you.
It is an honor to spend your birthday with you. You're a hero of mine. You, General Flynn, President Trump. Without that grouping, we always need great people around us. Trump succeeded because of the people he had around him. What is unforgivable in terms of Andrew Garbarino is his attack on the American people and how you could attack another politician, but when you attack Americans and call them terrorists, when you attack Americans and say they were part of an insurrection, when you vote for the January 6th committee to target Americans and the president, you have to go, and you should never stick your face out in politics again. Americans are not terrorists. Those rally goers on January 6th made some bad decisions, but the reason we have to take this man down is you attacked Americans. No American is a terrorist unless they intensely try to cause harm to other Americans, and no one went to that rally with that intention.
He gave that vote as I call him a rookie Republican. It must have been his first or second or third vote. He just votes to set up a witch hunt committee with a group of people who for 5 years have been trying to frame the president. I mean, the people on that committee are the crooks, not the people they're looking for. What about slimy Schiff? I have evidence of Russian collusion. Here's my evidence. Well, the FBI decided no Russian collusion the day after, the CIA 3 weeks after. We spent $45 million. We got 4 investigations, no Russian collusion. And we've never seen the list from the liar. And he is sitting in judgment of January 6th. So how does a guy like this, if he believes in what we think is necessary for the country, how does he vote for this? This is time to take a short break. Think your homeowner's insurance covers home title fraud? Think again. And neither does your common identity theft program. The FBI calls home title fraud one of the fastest growing crimes, which is why you need to go to HomeTitleLock.com, America's leader in home title protection. Here's the problem. The deed to your home is the only document that proves you own it. And the deeds to all of our homes now are online. In minutes, a criminal can find and forge your name off the deed to your home and refile as the new owner. Like Jeff, who spent a fortune in legal fees after a thief forged himself onto the deed to Jeff's home and took out loans. Jeff didn't have home title lock then. He does now. Or Deborah, who thought our common identity theft service would protect her. Then a criminal got onto the deed to a home and had her evicted. Deborah has home title lock now. HomeTitleLock.com is your peace of mind, and the deed to your home is protected. Visit HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. Welcome back to the interview of Robert Cornicelli.
You know, Jeff Dunham should make another puppet called the Garbarino puppet, because that's all he is. You know, he's just a man who sits out there, and the voice that comes out of his mouth is someone else's. He's doing what he's told. You know, we always say the beta male who's run by the alphas of his pack. I don't think he makes the decisions on his own. I think he constantly asks somebody in the establishment, what should I do? And you're not getting that with me. With me.
Tell us about you, and then we'll go back to, I guess he's now being called Garbarino in the district.
Yeah, he's come from a long string of Garbarinos who are just politicians. They've never really served their country. And when I say serve the country, yeah, I did 8 years in the Navy as enlisted. I got out. I was a garbage man. I went to college at night. After September 11th, I said, I have to go back in, but I'm not going in the Navy. I want infantry. I want to be out there taking down bad guys. I went in as an infantry officer, and I served another 13 years. I got hurt pretty bad in 2014, and as I was recovering, General Flynn brought me over to DIA to serve 4 years under General Flynn.
Oh, that had to be a heck of an experience. I mean, General Flynn, you should know, I have great regard for, and I worked with General Flynn long before any of that contrived trouble came up. I worked with him on the Trump campaign very, very closely in developing the president's enormously successful foreign policy. He's a man who's been, I don't know how to describe it, what they've done to him. It could, as a lawyer, it defies everything I know about truth and justice. But I'm so glad he's on your side. How did you get injured?
Originally I fell out of a helicopter. We were rappelling.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that started it. But when you go back in the Army as a 34-year-old infantry officer and you get hurt, 12-mile ruck marches with 95-pound rucksack, your body gets broken down. And once you have a fall like that, it's almost like breaking your hip. It just gets worse and worse. And I don't quit, and I don't like to recycle in these schools. So I just kept going until you started to need. I had 9 surgeries so far since 2014 to be able to.
How many deployments?
Just, my deployments, one deployment was overseas. The majority of the work I did was with the Counter-Narco-Terrorism Task Force, catching the terrorists here. You know about that, the Haiders.
Of course I do.
Yeah, so I worked there
with Haider.
Correct. Yeah, so we were the ones searching for the terrorists that was searching for the trends and the ways to get past our security measures here. And then another stint with the domestic all hazard response team. So I was always chosen for one of these specialty type assignments. And I grew in terms of how to lead, and going to work with General Flynn, which was amazing. I started off as a staff officer there, and then I became the executive officer to the director of operations. So like the spy master of DIA. So you know what that's about.
Right.
But the one thing that really raised the checkered flag in terms of who General Flynn is, he was a 3-star general, the director of the DIA under Obama, calling out red flags and being told, shut up. And he's saying there's a deep state operating here, and these were people from his own party. So finally, he's like, no one's.
Oh, absolutely. I know the story intimately because I had to develop it for the defense of President Trump and the impeachment. It's an outrage. It's an absolute outrage. And they targeted him because they thought he was the one that could best protect Donald Trump. They thought the others were too inexperienced in government to understand just how bad their deep state was. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but it's true. Rance Priebus and Jared Kushner and the other people around him were all new to government. which is good sometimes. You need people like that. But you also need a Flynn who can tell you there's where the bad guys are. They're coming. They may look like Republicans, but they hate you. And they want to take you out. And they're internationalists. They're just like the Democrats.
Yeah, generals like Mathis and some of those guys really disappointed me because they knew what was going on. And the fact that they were so worried about their careers, where General Flynn's like, heck with my career, the country is in a lot of trouble. And for that guy to stand up and go against that tide and get beaten down like that and still get back up, you're the beach when you get smashed by a wave, just get back up and keep going out there rather than going back to your blanket. That guy's a warrior. His son just texted me. He might be coming here in June to do an event for us.
Let's get to what we need for New York in Congress. What are the things that you're going to push from your experience as a congressman that a guy like Garbarino, who looks to me like he's in it for the cocktail parties and the games and the Washington Post and how they describe him, typical RINO. He's a double RINO, actually, because he voted for the bill you talk about, January 6th, which is enough to throw you out like Cheney did. But he also voted for the infrastructure bill that is causing the fact that your people are paying 8% more for everything right now, thanks to Garbarino.
He also voted for a joint resolution, I believe it was 14, to add restrictions on oil and natural gas. And this is the same, these are the same restrictions that President Trump lifted. He went to Scotland with Pelosi for a climate change summit. I mean, just HR 8, restrictions on guns. He's not a Republican.
He went with Pelosi to Ireland for what?
Scotland for the climate change summit.
Wasn't he worried about all of the carbon he was emitting during the trip? And just could you check back for me? Just one thing would be really important. Would you see if Mr. Pelosi flew the plane or drove any of the cars?
Oh, yeah. Teresa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I want, because I don't want him to get hurt, I hope they don't have him driving cars for people. We'll have to see. You see how that's covered up in the newspapers?
Not a word.
Remember when George Bush had one that was about 800 years old? It was back in college or something, and they made, oh my God, oh.
So, Mr. Mayor, we developed here at the Cornicelli for Congress campaign headquarters the America First Doctrine. It's almost like Newt Gingrich's contract with America. It's a 21-point plan, and some of the top issues we're talking about a constitutional carry. That you are given the right to carry a gun by the Constitution. That's on the federal level,
which they have in New Hampshire, by the way.
Right, but what we're gonna, what we want to say is no state can put any restrictions on gun owners. If any restriction it would come, which I'm not in favor, it would come from the federal government. But
let's take a short break, and we'll be back with Robert Cornicelli. Not long ago, Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and his team fit me for my very own MyPillow. They also introduced me to their wide assortment of other incredible products, like their mattress topper, their sheets, towels, slippers, and more. Sleep is incredibly important to me, and I can assume for all of you. It's time you give MyPillow a try and see for yourself. Listeners have helped build MyPillow into the incredible company it is today, and Mike Lindell wants to give back to all of you. You can get great discounts on MyPillow products by going to mypillow.com right now and seeing each of the specially priced items, including those in the radio listener special square. You're going to see rotational offers up to 66% off on products like their pillows, mattress topper, Giza sheets, but also new products like their slippers, weighted blankets, robes, and waffle blankets. All MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Enter promo code RUDY for these great specials. That's mypillow.com and use the promo code RUDY. Welcome back to the interview of Robert Cornicelli. Well, restrictions by the state of New York are useless because they're this. I don't know if people can accept this. The state of New York is a dysfunctional business that cannot do things like give out driver's licenses, find beds when there's a COVID emergency, even though the moment Cuomo and de Blasio stepped yelling about it, I could have taken them and found them 3,000 beds within 10 miles of where they were sitting. Basically, mental hospitals that were closed down. These morons, because they're so lazy and because all they think about is running for the next office, had no idea of it. And then Trump gave them 1,000-bed ship. Then he put another 1,000 beds in Javits Center. And when they were told it would look like Trump was doing too good a job, they didn't put anybody there and instead got them killed in nursing homes. And we let the Democrat. I don't know how you say this to the people. You're the politician and my son now. You got to figure out how to tell this people in New York, not the ones who vote for Republicans. How can you be so stupid? Why do you do this to yourself? Chicago has been voting for Democrats for 50 years. This weekend, 5 people killed, 20 people injured. We've had 3 people killed this weekend. Rochester's a disaster. Buffalo's a disaster. And we keep voting for the Democrats. Our budget is $220 billion. Florida is $97 billion. And we keep voting for these people.
And they have better roads.
They got better roads. They've got a better governor. They've got a surplus.
Not for long.
Not for long, right? When Andrew Giuliani gets there, this will all be fixed because he's got the. You know why they keep looking for the qualifications for you guys? What you did, what you didn't do, what experience you had. You know what I like about you? You're coming in from the outside. You're not all tarnished by the stupid deals like Zeldin, who said that Cuomo would make a good governor and voted for Cuomo's budgets. You're not tainted by that. You're not tainted by voting for the January 6th committee or inflationary spending. You're coming in fresh. You're coming in new. You got America first, and you're going to use your common sense, which has gotten you through a hell of a career. That's what America's about. Citizen politicians like you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
How's the campaign going, and how can we help you?
Campaign is really flowing, and I was just about to say, so we were validated by the Board of Elections, so we're on the ballot. And what do you think? The establishment, this guy Garcia, the county chairman, these are bad people. You're suing a guy. I don't like to toot my horn, but I serve my country. And then, but I got paid serving my country. On the outside, for the last 7-8 years, our 501c3 Veteran Recovery Coalition, we probably fed thousands upon thousands of homeless veterans every single holiday. No veteran family on Long Island, since I've been here, back from active duty, goes without Christmas, Hanukkah presents under their tree. And I'm talking off their list. If their cars need repair, we go pick them up. As a matter of fact, we had a call earlier. We're going to put a handicap ramp on a veteran's home in Deer Park. So we've been doing these things on the outside. Now this guy Garcia and Garbarino, they're suing me in court to knock me off the ballot. Like, the voters signed my petitions. We got validated the Board of Elections, and Garbarino and Garcia are taking us to court, suing us to throw us off the ballot.
What's the name of the chairman of the party? Nick something.
Langworthy.
Oh yeah, I keep saying Goodbody or something. That's how important he is. He's the one that about 8 months ago told my son and others, so I have other witnesses for this, I don't want you to run because we want Zeldin to run. We're going to kick everybody else out because we don't want anybody raising Trump. You worked for Trump for 4 years. He's been his friend for 20 years. So it's impossible for Andrew Giuliani to run without Trump being raised. That's why he was kicked out. Then they kicked out Rob Astorino. They kicked out Wilson. Now, they did the same thing to him. They're doing the same thing to Astorino. They challenged his ballots, but they lied. They said that a Republican wasn't registered as a Republican, and he signed falsely 3,000 applications. It was revealed in the Board of Elections that they submitted a false and fraudulent affidavit, and it was thrown out by the Board of Elections. where out of 25,000 signatures, they came up with 4. And the false claim by Zeldin, and this all comes from the top, comes from Langworthy and those people. They're still challenging Astorino. And what's their challenge against you? What did you do?
It's almost impossible for the little guy to run for office out here. You have to go through the Board of Election to get your walking books, your walking lists, your maps. Now, the deputy commissioner of the Board of Elections, Jesse Garcia, the county chairperson. Jesse Garcia's secretary at the Brookhaven Republican Club is now the commissioner of the Board of Elections. The past commissioner is the guy there, the RINO, Lalota, they're running in the first. We had no material sent to us on time. We had to purchase lists off a website and hope that they had registered Republicans. So yeah, they knocked 1,000 signatures off our petitions, but you can't ask for ID when you go knocking on the door. You just have to say, "Hi, are you Rudy Giuliani? Are you registered Republican?" Yeah, I'll sign. You can't verify. So they made it so difficult for the little guy. Plus, you need the money. They know they can just keep suing you in court and going through all your money. I'm going to crush this establishment out here if it's the last thing I do. If I lose, which I won't, my goal for the next 20 years is to crush this establishment, get rid of every RINO who's in the Board of Election and OTV, all these positions. They're going if it's the last thing I do.
Didn't Garcia, I've heard this, tell me if it's true. Didn't Garcia get together a bunch of the people they get jobs for and tell them they had to take you and Andrew and a few other people out or they would lose their jobs?
Not only did he do that, a woman lost her husband to 9/11 related cancer. He was a cop. She's a campaign treasurer out here. Her business is almost closed down because every elected official who used her got threatened. And if they think I'm afraid to say this stuff, I'm not. I'm coming at him. And every person that he threatens, I'm going to go to them.
Do you think, and I let you think about this, I'm not going to put you on the spot. You think she'd go on the air with me?
I will find out. She's
Talk
scared.
to her.
She's
I
very
know, but
scared. It's her
tell her-
livelihood.
Boy, I put a lot of people that are scared in a lot of situations and it comes out all right. They don't go after the people I put on the air. I guarantee you.
They'll never go after alpha males like you and me. They go after people they think they can bully.
No. I've
I've dealt with a lot worse than these crooks. So if we could put her on, I mean that meeting that Garcia had, in which he basically told people who are dependent on him for jobs, you better stop these people who are challenging us. May have included a few more people too. It was Andrew and you. I think it was a few more people. It wasn't just you. Basically, the ones who were against the party. He basically told them we're all going to get fired. I think that's a crime. That's an extortion. That's using extortion to get a vote. And then when we want to make our claim against Republicans, which I did for the president very proudly, I'm still proud of what I did for the president, and it's turning out to all be true with 2,000 Mules, which I asked people to watch, the Wisconsin judge who found everything we did was right. You don't read it on the newspapers, but just like we've been validated on the hard drive, we're getting validated on the vote, piece by piece. But sometimes we're no better, Rob. We're no better. We can't sit back and say, "Oh, we're wonderful. We don't do that." When we get a chance, when we got too much power, and these people have had too much power, we start to get as greedy, as crooked, as extortionate. I mean, what this guy Garcia did is really, really the worst of Democrat politics.
I don't even want to say it on air, but it gets worse. And he's gonna pay the piper. It's gonna come back to bite him because he's a bad. If he would just like Garbarino's not a bad guy. He just doesn't know how to make decisions. He's being run by them. He's being run by bad people.
Yeah. So how much do you need? How do they get it to you?
Go to our website, Mr. Mayor, www.Cornicelli for Congress. There's a donate button right there. Our legal fees are adding up. They already cost us about $35,000. And we're raising it. We're scrapping and, dollar here, dollar there. They're not beating us that way. If I get beat at the ballot box, that's different. They're not beating us on money.
So I urge you to reach into your pocket and make contributions to rob, whether you're in his district or not. If you're in California, this is important to you. And you bring me people in California that are going through the same thing, and we'll put them on here, and we'll raise money. We're one country, and we're being killed by a Congress that has a 10% approval rating, of which Zeldin and Garbarino are a part. We only have one place to go to save this country, to you, the people. And you know something? That's what our founding fathers told us we would have to do. They predicted this. They predicted that, tyranny is just one generation away unless you fight for democracy. This man served his country in the military, and he hasn't told you enough about what he does for veterans. It's remarkable. He dedicates, I'd say at least, and I may be wrong, half his time to helping veterans who have PTSD, who are homeless, who have other forms of problems. Good man, not going to change his mind. He's going to do what's right. We get enough of him, then we save our country from the express train to Marxism, and we get back to where we were when we had the best economy. Everybody feared us. And for Black and Hispanics people, the most money they ever made in their whole lives. So thank you, Robert, and we'll be in touch. You know I'm coming out there to campaign for you. Very enthusiastic about you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to have you.